that's the reason why you can't buy a lot. So like they're all BYOs, right?
Ooh. Lai lai la lai lai lai. Lai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Ya lai 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 la lai. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai yai lai. Yai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Yai lai 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 la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Yai lai la lai lai lai. Lai lai la lai 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 lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Ya la lai. Yai lai 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 la lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai lai lai.
Shabbat Shalom. On behalf of Cantor Hyman and Rabbi Friedman, who we welcome back from Israel, no one's happier than I, and our congregational president, John Broder, it's wonderful to welcome congregants and friends and guests. We come from, as I look out into the congregation, all walks, all experiences, some with hopes, some with disappointments, some in mourning, some in celebration, some who are very new to our congregation, perhaps here for the first time ever, and others who have been here many, many times before. And so we want to create community with us all. I'll say first a special welcome to the international students from the Dialogue Institute at Temple University, whom we are so pleased to welcome each year. This summer, the Dialogue Institute is hosting a cohort of 20 student leaders from Egypt, Lebanon, Iraq, India, and Indonesia for a 5-week program on religious diversity and democracy in partnership with the U.S. State Department. If our world has hope for the future, it is in you all, and we are so glad you are here to share in the warmth of community, because I know you weren't warm enough before coming into the synagogue this Shabbat. So let's be sure to be among community. Please take this moment to introduce yourself in the comments or to turn around and find someone new to greet.
I'm not hedging any bets on the Phillies winning. Great couple games recently, though. The game last night was awesome. Did you see Alec Bohm with that play in the ninth inning? Mike Schmidt play. Pretty cool. Talking about, crazy, yeah. I'm sure there's like, metrics that tell you not to or something, but it just seems so logical. Like a free runner in scoring position, put him on third. Strom was great last night. That was awesome. Yeah, they kind of just have like a chi right now or something. They're improving. Yeah, I mean, and that was his best start, but I would take 5 innings and 2 runs, like the rest of his start any day from a fifth starter, right? Yeah, he's been a good surprise. Sucks that the All-Star break finally are like.
To kindle our Shabbat lights, we welcome Cassidy Layton as we return to our seats and turn in our prayer books to page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
Our Shabbat Kiddush is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'asei v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי באנו ואכלת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
A tradition about the next Kabbalat Shabbat song, Shalom Aleichem, provides a reason for the song, why it exists. According to this midrash, when we return home on Shabbat, we have good angels following us, and we have not so good angels following us. And the song banishes those not so good angels so that we can have a peaceful, joyful Shabbat. Now, on the off chance that you don't take this literally, I sure don't, I still think there's wisdom there, that as we sing Shalom Aleichem, as we welcome the good angels of Shabbat into our presence, perhaps we do work to banish, to let go some of those things that we don't wish to have in our presence for Shabbat. Those attitudes, those grudges, whatever it is that we cling to from the week that might bring us down, this is our chance to start to shed that part of our lives, of our week, and to look towards the peace and make space for the joy of Shabbat. And so we continue together with the singing of Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyonim, Melech Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom Malachei Elyon mi melech malachei hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitechem l'shalom malachei hashalom Malachei Elyon mi melech malachei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We welcome Shabbat with Lachado D, pages 20 and 21.
Lechado di likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechado di likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet ולתחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת לקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Please rise if you're able.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Turning to page 28, we continue with our call to worship.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam Vaed, Leolam Vaed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Page 31. Together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 33. Together, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Page 36. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Page 39. Together, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
Guided by Jewish wisdom, teaching us that we have the capacity to find uplift even after our lowest times, we will sing the words of Hashkivenu, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Page 42.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור את צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Page 46, we continue with the Amidah. Please rise.
Yai lai 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 lai, ya la 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 lai lai lai. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la lai lai lai, 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 ya la lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Konei הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Turning to page 61, let us join together in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, havarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take these moments for silent prayer.
עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we will be on the middle of page 253 for the Mishaberach, our blessing for healing. Last week at a funeral, I explained to some non-Jewish family members the meaning of the Kriya ribbon, the black ribbon that is pinned to the collar of the immediate mourners and worn for immediate days of their grief. When we tear it, the ritual expresses something of tearing our broken hearts in a time of deep and intimate loss. But wearing the ribbon is just as important for the message it sends to others. Other people know, just by seeing the torn ribbon, someone is in the raw stage of grief. It's a reminder that for most stages of life, we don't have a ribbon. That signal for the challenge or sorrow we face. And so it's a reminder that whether or not there is a physical symbol, we can assume anyone we encounter could be struggling with something we do not see. We usually don't know what burden the next person might be carrying. If someone you love is in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, please speak that name aloud now.
Mi shebeirach avoteinu mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Vishebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We move now to thoughts of gratitude as we prepare to sing Shehechianu on page 344, a blessing thanking God for giving us life, for sustaining us and enabling us to reach this moment in time. And I am so grateful to be back with all of you, with our congregational family. And I hope you're all celebrating or grateful for something this week or maybe this past week. And if there's something that you'd like to share with the congregation, major life cycle or other exciting things in your life, we'd love to hear from you, for which we might say words of gratitude. Anyone? Any birthdays? Yeah. Is that Josh? Started a new job. Mazel tov. Oh, so wonderful. Yeah, Karen. Oh, a 1-year-old birthday party tomorrow. That sounds wonderful. So exciting. What else we got? Yeah. Happy birthday. All right. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yeah. Oh, so wonderful. Family reunion. I love it. Oh, so wonderful to be together. Yeah. Congratulations. Does that mean you're leaving us? But for a very exciting reason. That's wonderful. Congrats. Congrats. Oh, Cassidy. Welcome. Great to have you down here with us. All right. Well, for all of these and so many more, we offer words of thanks and gratitude.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh Baruch אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Should I make the joke? I just flew back from Israel, and boy, are my arms tired. No, it's awful. Rabbi Mader said, don't fall asleep. I got home at around 2 a.m. last night, so I'll try to be coherent here. But I wanted to speak a little bit about our family's time in Israel and just share a few anecdotes with all of you that I think help to just reflect on a very complicated, beautiful, amazing country. And I think there'll be opportunities maybe for more reflection as I process more, but just a few of my sort of initial thoughts. First of all, to have an opportunity to go to Israel, I hope you all get a chance at some point, and I'm excited for our congregational trip next year. And to be able to be there just with our family for almost a month was really different from some of the sort of standard, 10-day tours, which are amazing as well. You pack, 100 things into those 10 days, and we took things a little slower, and there was something about just being there that was really special. When we first arrived, we got our rental car and we were heading up to be with our friends in Herzliya. One of the first things I saw on the side of the road, Route 20, the Ayalon Highway, was a big sign that said, Ein li eretz acheret. It means, I have no other land. And right away, it hit me. It was really quite a powerful moment. Some of you know my wife's family, Laurel's family. We've quite a bit of family in Israel, and it was her grandparents who came there, and specifically her grandfather Yosef of blessed memory, Joseph, for whom Josephine is named, who, along with his family, were Holocaust survivors. They fled Nazi Germany in the 30s, making their way through Spain for a few years, and ultimately ending up in Israel. And when I see those words, Ein li eretz acheret, I have no other land, I think about him. I think about that family that had nowhere else to go. America wasn't open, much of Europe wasn't open to them, and Israel truly was the one place for them. And we know that continues to be the case today, and how important that is. One of our reasons for going was to see some of that family, and specifically Laurel's second cousin's son had his bar mitzvah up on a kibbutz Matsuba, which is in the north near the Lebanese border, and it was truly an amazing experience to be with family and to witness that. I will say, as many know, while we were there was also some violence. There was an IDF operation in Jenin to dismantle a terrorist operation that also tragically left many residents of the camp, of the city there, displaced and destroyed much of their infrastructure, as many of us perhaps have seen in the news. While Israel, like any nation, needs to be able to protect itself, as Jews and as human beings, we always mourn the loss of life and innocent people that are ravaged by conflict. As Jews, we can love and support Israel and feel compassion for the Palestinian people, and we can pray for their well-being and their national aspirations. A lot of what we hear about Israel is the headlines, and when there was that violence, I heard from many of you who sort of saw that on the news and wrote to me and said, are you okay? We hear there's stuff going on there. And, it was interesting because, honestly, if we hadn't read it in the news, we probably wouldn't have even known. And that really struck me because it's so easy to completely remove yourself. And it's so easy to just completely pretend like there is no occupation, like there is, nothing going on and there is no violence. And I think that's obviously kind of dangerous. And one, I think it perhaps explains why many of us, many Israelis, are okay with the current situation, because it's quite easy sometimes to just turn a blind eye to it. We were on vacation, we were just going, but some people, I think, maybe are on vacation their whole lives from that. We also, while we were there, some saw there was a terror attack in Tel Aviv, and we actually were maybe just a few miles from it, but again, really had no idea it even happened other than the news alerts. It was interesting. I immediately checked my phone to see what was going on in the news, and that actually wasn't the first thing that came up. Maybe it was because of my settings or whatever on my news app, but the first thing that came up was actually a mass shooting here in Philadelphia that happened at the exact same time. And I was receiving messages from so many of you, and I was thinking, I need to write to everyone there and make sure they're okay. And it's interesting, I guess, just to see that, and tragic, that we have this violence sort of wherever we are. I thought it a bit ironic that as many of you were thinking of me, I was thinking of you back here. We had the opportunity to travel the entire country from the very tip in the south in Eilat all the way up to the north, to the Galilee. And while driving in our little rental car, a little Mazda, we listened to a lot of music. And that was really a highlight of the trip, listening to radio stations and getting into the Israeli music. There was one song that was like the big song of the summer last summer, but they played it a lot. It's called Cute Boy. It's in English, but they spell it in Hebrew letters, like Kuf, Yud, Vav, Cute Boy. I want to just share one, it's a very, not a very serious song, as you can imagine. It's about a group of young women going out to the club. She meets a guy, he's really cute, they're dancing on the dance floor, and she doesn't even know his name, and then she loses him in the crowd, and that's really the entire song. And so, but there's a line in it. This is what I want to share with you. There's a line in it that goes, I'll read it in Hebrew, you can see if you recognize it. Im ein anili, mili tzili tamid litzidi. That sound a little familiar, some of that? Im ein anili, right? You've heard that before? Im ein anili mili, right? If famous from, anyone know? Pirkei Avot, Rabbi Hillel, 2,000 years ago, said these words, Im ein anili mili, if I am not for myself, who for me? Mili, who for me? And if I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Now, what the artist has done in this song is, the way they translate it is, Im ein anili, if I'm not for myself, mili, which is a name of someone, and tzili, which is another name, tamid litzidi, are always by my side. And so this young woman singing is saying, if I'm not for me, my girlfriends, Mili and Tzili, will always be there. Now, what's so funny about this is there are young Israelis, totally secular, have no knowledge of Talmud, have no knowledge of the Mishnah, that are singing this and don't even realize that the line they are singing is a 2,000-year-old quote from Rabbi Hillel. There are so many Israelis that will say, Lo dati, I'm not religious. Rak hiloni, I'm just secular. And yet, Hebrew, and yet Jewish values, Jewish text is woven into the very core. When I asked my friend, who's Israeli-American, I asked her, did you recognize that line? She said, I did, but I didn't know it was from Pirkei Avot. I actually, when I think of that line, Im ein anili mili, which she knew it, she thinks of it as like one of those cute aphorisms, like, when you see the poster of like the kitten hanging, like hang in there or something. And they think of this 2,000-year-old famous quote by a rabbi that's quite religious as a completely secular text. Speaking of sort of religion, we had the opportunity to, and really one of the highlights of our trip was to worship at Congregation Achva Bakerem, our partner congregation in Jerusalem. While I was over there, many of you know, Rabbi Tamir Nir, the rabbi of Congregation Achva Bakaren, a Reformed community in Israel, was here. He actually was staying at my house, and we got to be hosted by him while we were there, which was absolutely amazing. Achva Bakaren is truly a magical place, and I hope many of you get to visit this because it is not like a synagogue you've ever seen. It has no walls. It is in a community garden. The word Achva Bakaren literally means, Hebrew's gendered. So Achva is brotherhood technically, but it's really solidarity, I think might be a better translation for us. Solidarity, Bakerem, in the vineyard. And they have a vineyard. You can pick the grapes. They have a fig tree. They have a pomegranate tree. They have a full community garden. We actually were headed to Rabbi Nir's house after the service, and he said, first we need to get a few things for salad, for dinner, and took my girls literally picking malafafonim, picking cucumbers to make their Israeli salad. One of the highlights was my younger daughter, Nora, who's 5 years old, was introduced to another young girl about the same age. Nora speaks no Hebrew, and this other young girl, Daniela, spoke no English. And just like many of you did with the Lecha Dodi and began dancing, the two of them just started spontaneously dancing in the middle of the service. They then ran off and found a little treehouse, which they decided was their fort, and they played together the entire time. It was this incredible moment that transcended nationality, that transcended language, where they could just be together celebrating Shabbat. I want to just make a plug for Achva Bakaren to say that they are doing incredible work right now. One of the things that they're doing that's really amazing is they have a vision for bringing secular Israelis, these same Chiloni Israelis who say, I'm not religious, yet have Judaism woven into the very core of their fabric, bringing them into community. And Reformed Judaism is not really a thing in Israel yet. It's growing, but most Israelis consider themselves either religious or secular. And this middle ground of Reformed Judaism is beginning to gain sort of traction. And Rabbi Nir is doing an incredible job with this community of doing it and really bringing more Israelis in to find spirituality in a fully egalitarian, a fully progressive way. One of the things they're currently working on is actually a small physical kind of barn building. They only have one physical building in the currently in the community garden. It's actually a composting toilet. It's the coolest toilet you've ever seen. That's fully environmental. But they want to create a space where they can worship when it's cold or rainy. And it actually does get cold in Jerusalem in the winters. And currently, if the weather's not good, they just don't have services. And so they're currently raising money for this building. And if you're interested in helping to support that community, please talk to me afterwards, and I'd love to help make that possible. We ate everything. Israel has some of the most amazing food in the world. We ate barekas, we ate sabich, we ate falafel, we ate shawarma, we ate shakshuka, we ate hummus, which there's a lot of controversy as to who actually invented hummus, and I won't say that it's Israel by any means. I think it belongs to quite a few of us, but ate a lot of hummus. And one of my favorites, one of the last things we had before we left was jachnun. Has anyone here ever heard of jachnun? Maybe, I see a couple, not many, a couple folks. Jachnun is a really interesting example of the beauty of Israel. Jachnun is traditionally a Yemenite dish, actually. Some know the Yemeni Jews, it was quite a big, a decent community of Jews in Yemen. Many of them, when Israel declared independence, a lot of the Arab nations nearby were not very friendly to the Jews, and majority of Yemeni Jews came to Israel in the late 40s. There's a story that some of them, these were sort of a very rural, a very sort of poor, uneducated group, that many of them hadn't even seen a plane before. And the first time they saw a plane, they saw this as a vision from the Torah of God taking them on eagle's wings, as were described out of Egypt, and saw this same vision there. And for many of them, it was the very first time they had ever been on a plane before in their lives. I actually had a Yemenite neighbor when I lived in Jerusalem when I was studying, Yonah Hamdi, who had actually walked with her family from Yemen, which I can't even imagine, the most amazing thing. So Jachnun, has anyone here ever heard of Cholent? Maybe a few more? I was hoping we'd have a few more for the Cholent, right? So Jachnun and Cholent are the same thing, but they're not at all. And here's why it's really interesting. For any of us Ashkenazi Jews, probably the majority of Jews here, cholent is a traditional Ashkenazi sort of stew, right? That I'm not a big fan, but it's the idea behind it is it's a way of eating on Shabbat if you don't cook. And you start it on Friday afternoon, and it just sits, and it slow cooks all night. You don't touch it. And then by Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, you have this wonderful stew you can get. Jachnun is the Mizrahi, is the Eastern Jewish answer to cholent. And it's the exact same thing, except it's much better. And it's vegan, actually. And it's a beautiful rolled dough, kind of sweet, but that's cooked for about 20 hours, and they put it in on Friday, and it just sits. And what's amazing is you actually can't find Jachnun during the week. It's almost impossible. And yet, when everything else is closed in Israel, they have these Jachnun stands on Saturday all over the country. Some are just where you can just like pick it up if you prepay, some where you can buy it there. And the idea, what's beautiful, I think, about Israel, especially when in America we have a much more Ashkenormative sort of version of Judaism, right? That's very Ashkenazi-centric. When we think of Jewish food, we immediately think of matzo ball soup and delis and things like that, which is all Eastern European. In Israel, they have this beautiful mix. And to see cholent and Jachnun side by side, Mizrahi and Ashkenazi, but also both coming up with their own ways to make Shabbat special, to make Shabbat holy. The diversity of the Jewish people was one of the beautiful things in Israel. And actually, we had an opportunity when we were up north, staying at a little guest home, just hanging out by the pool. We met an Ethiopian family who had come up on vacation as well from Beersheba. And we were just talking with them, and one of the older sisters had on a Aliyah shirt, not like Aliyah, but the very 90s hip-hop sort of R&B singer, if you know her, and my wife's a fan, and they immediately started talking about music. And she actually, this woman originally from Ethiopia, now from Beersheba, introduced us to some beautiful Mizrahi, Eastern sort of pop Israeli music, including the amazing singer Eyal Golan, which I'll encourage you, if you hadn't heard of him, check it out and really listen to some very different sort of Jewish music. Just going back to the food for a second, one of the things we loved, I could talk about food the whole time, but one of the things we loved about food was how seasonal it all is. Israel does not import very many fruits and vegetables. Most of it is grown there, truly lifting up Ben Gurion's vision of making the desert bloom. And we actually were there right at the end of strawberry season, and when you go to the market, the shuk, we saw tons and tons of strawberries. A week later, there were no strawberries anymore. My kids were bummed out, I'll be honest, because here in America, they're used to having strawberries year-round. Even if they're really bad and watery, like in the winter, they don't care. But yet, then cherry season started, and we immediately started seeing the cherries. One of the things we noticed that was really cool, though, this is when we were in the garden at Achva Bakerem, they have a pomegranate tree. And we saw the pomegranates, and yet they were really little, and they were incredibly cute because they look just like regular pomegranates, a little star on the end, but they're tiny. And they weren't in season yet. Anyone want to guess, when do you think pomegranates are in season? What do you think? It's a little later. September. Why? The holidays, Rosh Hashanah. If you've ever thought about it, well, often maybe you'll see pomegranates connected with the fall holidays. That's when they're in season in Israel. There's something about our Jewish calendar, our Jewish cycle, our seasons that don't make sense in America. And when you're in Israel, so much of it was originally connected to that agricultural cycle. And to literally see that, to understand that at these certain holiday times, certain things ripen, and you can understand why. On our way, we did see Ben Gurion's vision. We kind of drove by it on the highway, his home in Sde Boker, where he had that vision of making the desert bloom. But it was on our way to a small town called Mitzpeh Ramon. On this trip, with so much time, we visited places I had never been before, and this was a new one. Mitzpeh Ramon is most famous for its maktesh. A maktesh is they translate it as an erosion crater. It's the largest maktesh in the world. There aren't that many makteshim, but it's the largest. And it's an incredible giant crater that you look out at. And there's a museum there. It's a very, very interesting museum because it's got two sort of very different subjects. The museum is all about the geology of this maktesh and how it's formed, and you learn all about sort of the limestone and the sea that came in and how that all worked. And the entire museum is also dedicated to Ilan Ramon. Partly they're playing on just that name, Ramon, but also Ilan Ramon was from Beersheba, which is very close to Mitzpeh Ramon. For those that don't know, Ilan Ramon was the first Israeli astronaut. He was on the Space Shuttle Columbia, which exploded on re-entry. The museum, as we're walking through it, we wondered, these two very different ideas, how are they going to connect this? How are they going to bring this all together? I wonder the same about my sermons sometimes, but hopefully it all. And as we're getting to the end, you walk into this room, and there's big curtains in front of you. It's totally darkened, and a screen comes down, and they show Ilan Ramon in space on the shuttle Columbia, and he's speaking about what it's like to be there. And I want to just give you the quotes on what she said. He says, "Earth is one unity, and no borders are seen from space. The world looks marvelous from up here, so peaceful, so wonderful, and so fragile. Everybody, all of us down there, not only in Israel, have to keep it clean and good." He then continued a little bit and says, "The quiet that envelops space makes the beauty even more powerful, and I only hope that that quiet can one day spread to my country and the world." And in that moment, as he's speaking about this, as he's talking about this idea of no borders from space, as he's talking about peace and the vision that you see from up there, the curtains open, and you see Mitzpeh Ramon before you. And I have to tell you, we were all in tears. We were like bawling our eyes out. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences, the way they were able to take these beautiful words of Ilan Ramon, the way they were able to bring it to life, to give his vision hope in the future. And as we looked out on it, the wonder, the awe, perhaps what Heschel would call that radical amazement, we truly believed, we truly had hope that we could have this place, that we could find that same quiet that he saw in space, that we could have in Israel somewhere totally beautiful, totally good, and it really brought perspective. So I'll end with just saying that may those words of Ilan Ramon come true in our time, and may we continue to do the work to help fulfill that vision. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. We turn in our prayer books now to page 282, followed by 287. Fra Aleinu, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש Baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad.
Please be seated. The words of World War II partisan Chana Senesh, Yesh kochavim, there are stars up above. So far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes Yahrzeit for Viola Hirsch-Allman, Samuel Aaron, Sophie Beinenstock, Frank Binswanger, Casey Elliott Bird, James J. Blatt, Herman B. Blumenthal II, Morton Botel, Albert L. Bricklin, Eugene Lionel Brody, Betsy Claster, Jean Rosenberg Cohen, Sadie Weil Copeland, Zolly Daniel, Lillian Wilder Epstein, Joseph S. Erzner, Henry J. Edelson, Mark G. Fetter, Lillian Felber, Frida Feldman, Nathan Fine, Edith Fink, Elizabeth Friesman, Pauline Miller Goldenberg, Benjamin Goldenberg, Lillian Landy Goldstein, Leo Greenberg, Martin Grupp, Florence Gubernick, Viola Stern Haas, Frederick Hart, Lizette Jacobs Israel, Henrietta Mann Jonas, Richard Kadish, Ada J. Kaplan, Richard J. Cates, Daniel T. Kemple, Robert William Cohn, Ruth Kurz, Bob Kyler, Philip Lassen, Ann Levin, Adeline Levy, Sylvia Levy, Leo Lipkin, Herbert Littman Loria, Oscar David Mann, Morton Richard Mazer, Marks S. Mayer, Rachel Anathan Mayer, Diane Monroe, Rebecca E. Netter, Julia Obermeyer, Robert D. Paul, Olivia Block-Falzer, William Pinkinson, Mary Rosen, Albert C. Rosenberg, George M. Ross, Barbara Goldman Rosette, Samuel Silverman, Herbert Silverman, Helmine Sinsheimer, Morris Summerson, Rona Satzman, Kathleen Spiegel, Morris Stein, Dorothy Kahn Strauss, Esther Strauss, Rose W. Strauss, Manuel Tannenholtz, David Weil, Mina Isakoff Wilson, Marika Ruth Winheld, Louis Wolf. And we add the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts in these most recent days, for whom we are observing Shiloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Rachel Blake, Samuel Frieder, Bruce Presant. If you are observing Yahrzeit or Shiloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to write their names in the chat or speak their names aloud at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'izman karib v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'kudusha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to us all, and let us say, Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
It's my honor to welcome our congregational president, John Broder, to offer some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to see everybody. I don't have a lot of formal announcements this time of the year, so I'll take the prerogative of having the mic and maybe extend my theme of gratitude that I've started the last few weeks. My old boss used to say to me, don't become intoxicated by the title on your business card. And I do not do that. I am not the only leader, even though you may see me here many Fridays. We have a number of wonderful leaders in this congregation that I'm ever grateful for, and I see a number of them are here tonight. We're members of our board of directors and board of advisors. And if you wouldn't mind, just for a minute, you could just sort of wave. That would be wonderful so people know who you are. So not only can I thank you, but hopefully the community can thank you as well. We're very lucky to have you. If you're new to our congregation, please go back and introduce yourself to Lynn Edelman, who's waving her hand in the back, and she'd be happy to talk to you more about our community. And Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful to see you all.
Conclude with a prayer for Israel and for its leaders, that they might follow words of Torah and justice. This prayer is from the Tefillat HaAdam, the Israeli Reform Siddur for Shabbat. Rock and Redeemer of Israel, shield it with your compassion and spread over it a sukkah of your shalom. May a spark of your spirit inspire the actions of its elected leaders, officials, judges, and advisors, that they may follow the path of justice, liberty, and righteousness. Strengthen the spirit of the hand of those who build and protect our holy land, and grant them salvation and life. Bring shalom to this land and everlasting joy to its inhabitants. Spread your spirit over all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot hatred and animosity, jealousy and evil. Plant in our hearts love and kinship, peace and friendship, and speedily fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, nor shall they learn war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious to us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Ken Yehiratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.